Diane, you are good
Good to go?
to go.
All right. Thank you, Devin. Well, hi, everybody. Good to see you as always. And as you know, Devin sent you the materials, those that we have. So we've got a kind of a modest agenda for today, the usual items, but then one new one. So, but before we begin, I think given the events of the last couple of weeks, let's just take a couple of minutes for Mike. So, on behalf of the group, I'd just like to say, Mike, we really want to reiterate our condolences to you and your family over the loss of your mother.
Thank you
A
very
really
much.
tough time in your life. And we're thinking about you still. We will be ongoing.
I appreciate all your thoughts and prayers and the flowers. They were beautiful, to tell you the truth. They were beautiful. And you guys are the best. I mean, you guys are like family, really. I mean, I work closely with all of you, so I do appreciate that.
Well, we've been thinking about you. Keith?
Yeah, Mike, I don't know how you did it, continuing to run the airport from 3 hours away in Rome while you had this challenge going on. So you're a good guy.
Well, I appreciate it. I try to do morning. I try to do my work and then, head to the hospital, and stay there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure I know a lot of you've gone through it too, and I know you have, and it's not easy for sure. Yeah. My dad's still alive, and Regina's mom and dad's still alive. So, we've been blessed that we've had all of our parents, haven't had to go through that.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate it very much.
Well, any other thoughts, or shall we move on? Well, we're happy to see you back, Mike, but
Thank you. Appreciate it.
it sounds feeble to say it, but whatever we can do to help, even if it's just
Oh, you guys are the greatest, I tell you. You really are.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we can move to the first item on the agenda, which is the minutes. And Devin did his usual sterling job on that. And I also need to thank Keith once again, because you remember Keith took over the running of the meeting for most of the items because I had to hightail it to St. Mary's. So Keith helped Devin and me with the proofing, and you should have seen the final result. So let's just turn to the minutes as an item. If you have anything that you think needs to be corrected or added, changed, now's the time. Anybody? Okay, well, hearing none. I guess I need a motion to approve the minutes as is, please. Keith?
This is Grant. I'd make that motion.
Where's Grant? Did I hear Grant?
You did.
Okay, so Keith, you want a second?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Grant.
You're welcome.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as they are, please, as is?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Abstentions? Okay, done. Okay, Devin, remember that we agreed, I guess it was last time, that once they've been approved by the authority, we should probably sign and date them as approved, you and I. And we talked about changing that line on the last page. We can do that later. Okay?
Got it.
Right. Okay. So, Mike,
Okay.
yes, we're over to you with all your updates.
All right. First of all, we changed over to the Atlas system, which is a FBO manager. We had an old system for a long, long time, over 10 years. And so it had little growing pains. We some of the reports that we wanted to print out didn't have all the information in it that we needed to get to finance. So we got with Atlas, and they've straightened it out since. But they usually like to have our reports by the 10th of the month, and I think we got it to them. I don't know when it was, just a little bit later. So they've been very busy changing to a new financial system on their end as well. So we don't have any financials. Short thing is we don't have any financials to report yet. They haven't sent them to me or compiled them yet. So, but when I get them, I'll send them on to you. And then if you have any questions about the financials at that time, just let me know. As far as operations, has several things on there. At our agenda meeting, Diane and Keith brought up several things, and then also just had a call just a little while ago with David, and he brought up a couple things too, some of which I Keith and I had already discussed, but I'll go into a few of them, and then Keith and David, you can certainly, of course, add to it. So first of all, self-serve is something Keith had brought up, and David as well. I had lunch with the president of Titan last week, and one of the things I brought up was the self-serve. That we had put in some money in on our end, to get the self-serve going, and of course, I was always told by our rep, that they would contribute as well. Well, coming from the president, it was nice to get that word as well, that they would help and contribute on the self-serve. David Asman and I went out to a location that we felt was a good location for the self-serve. So we're going to go ahead and start working on that since we have a commitment from Titan now. The tower is something Diane and I was talking about. The tower location, I think I told you a month or so ago that we're going to be getting a new tower, and the FAA is looking at some sites on our airport. I haven't gotten any word yet from the FAA about the tower location. I think they're still doing their preliminary work. And so once I hear something, I'll let you know. I also know that the tower here hasn't heard from them either. So they're probably, and I know that we're not the only tower, the only location that's going to have a tower. So they're working on several. So I'm sure they've got their hands full. But when I hear something, even prior to our next meeting, if I hear something, I'll shoot you an email, let you know. The RFP, I think David brought that up as well. The request for proposal, we got 2 hangars that we want to do RFPs on. One is what we call the Colvin hangar, and the other one is on this side, which I call hangar 990, which is right near the terminal, where Falcon used to be, and there's a flight school there now. I'm going to concentrate on that bigger one right now. I don't want to get 2 RFPs going because I don't want people to get confused between the two and say, okay, I was talking about this hangar, not this hangar. So the bigger one near us has a lot of interest, and we've kind of been kind of slow in pushing that. In July was pretty much a dead month because I went on vacation, Davin went on vacation, and so there was hardly anything done in July. Of course, Davin being new, he's taken it on, but it's been slow. So I've committed to David Asman, that we need to get this done. And so Davin and I are going to sit down and go through it, put it through purchasing, which we already had once or twice, and then they sent it back. It's been back and forth a little bit. So we just need to sit down and get this thing out the door, and get things moving, because we got some people, we don't want to lose them, because I think we've got some real good people that are interested in that hangar. So we're going to start working on that. And then this is something we had talked about in the past, was, we wanted to build some new T hangars as well. And the 2 options that I had is, okay, does the airport build it, or do we, get somebody in here that can build it on leased property, our property? They gave us land rent, and also, then we get property tax from the airplanes and fuel sales, of course. They maintain the hangar for, say, 20 years, 25-year lease, whatever it would be, and then it reverts back to us. Well, a while back, and it's been a while, it's been several months, when I talked to a company, and they came out, and they did a lot of measuring, and they were going to get back with me on prices, what it would be to cost. And that way I could compare what they had compared to what it would cost for us to build and how much I would have to charge rent. So when I contacted them about a month ago, they said they had people out with COVID, and it's just, they're so far behind. So I reached out to them again, and if I don't get any satisfaction out of them this time, I'm going to move on with somebody else. Because they're really a local company. It's a reputable company, and I think they really would do a great job for us. But there's other companies like that. There's another one that contacted me out of Atlanta, and I think he'd also do a good job too in managing, a row of T hangers. So anyway, with that said, we're going to move forward with that. Um, but there's a lot of things on our plate that we just need to pick up again. When Angela left, she was gone for a while, and it was just trying to keep my head above water with the projects, and that's really the way it is now. There's so many projects and parts and pieces of all the projects. And Davin's done a good job in what, he's been working on, but I didn't want to throw a lot at him, all at once. So there's several things that we have to, work on and kind of pick up and start moving forward again. David, you had some things I think on your list too, right?
Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, those were the bulk of it. The only other thing that I know has just kind of been a thorn in our side, just before Angela left, we had sent out new leases for all the T hanger and small hanger tenants, and I think we did a good job in getting most of them back. But it's my understanding that we have a few month-to-month arrangements that exist, in that some people wouldn't agree to long-term 12-month leases. I know we've got 20 something on a hanger wait list. I think it's in the best interest of the airport, the county, the other tenants of the airport that anybody that exists inside the fence is tied to a lease. 12-month minimum. So I'd like to see, I don't want anybody being forced out by any sort of imagination. But I think getting these people to sign leases, whether they're not doing it for a reason, or addressing those reasons, or what have you. But I think it from a risk management perspective, that's why we have it to keep the airport's interests secured and the renters' position secured. So.
Yeah, and David and I talked about that, and there are about 5 folks on this airport. They've been here for a long time, and I guess they feel like, I don't know how they feel like they're, they don't need to, but they do need to. And that's something that Angela was going to tackle when she was here, and definitely needs to be addressed. Like David and I talked about, which I had planned on doing, was just get with the county attorney, and say, hey, we got a couple of them that just aren't signing leases. And that's probably, I guess they have in total maybe 7, 8 leases, combined, because a couple of them have more than one. And so, yeah, it needs to be done. It definitely needs to be done with Davin here. I think he can take that on and run with it. And it's gonna, and you'll probably hear it. Craig, he's on the airport. David's on the airport. Who else is on the airport? I think that's it. But you guys, you two especially, are going to hear from them because you're at the airport, and you probably see them when you're here, or coming through the terminal. So just just know that it's going on, and that we're just going to have to push forward and make them. It's not going to be pretty. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be anything but professional.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And and a couple of them said they'll go to their lawyer too, which that doesn't scare me. We got a good lawyer, attorney,
yeah,
so I'm not worried
yeah.
about that either.
I don't know how.
I don't know either.
I
It's
don't know
just
how
the
that
way
would
they
work,
are.
attorney,
It's,
but I'm sure the
yeah.
county attorney could get involved, and we can make sure that everybody, the idea is for everybody to be equally protected. So
Yes, and I agree 100%. It's got to be that way.
I'm
It's got to
I
be.
I almost feel like the airport's being bullied, and if anything, by not getting these back. So.
Well, it's not. It's just that we hadn't had time, because I've been without Angela and then trying to work on projects, trying to get Davin up to speed. But like I say, that's something that's out there that needs to get done,
Right.
and it will. But Yeah, it's unfortunate for David and Craig who are out here because they see him all the time. It just has to get done. Yeah.
Mike, some time ago, I think you mentioned to us that there were some tenants who hadn't paid. Are these the same guys, or are they different?
I don't know if it's been paid, but just hadn't signed the lease. Yeah, and that's the ones. Yeah.
But it was something just after Angela left that there was something about, payment that hadn't been made, and they were
Amen.
it was just kind of left because, well,
I don't remember that one. We must have got paid for that because I don't know of anybody that hadn't paid.
Okay.
Might be slow, but we usually get it,
okay.
I think I have brought this up one other time. When we were going through this, I think.
I'm not sure if it's what you're thinking of, Diane. I think the only non-payment that I recall ever was with regards to Falcon's departure and the fuel, but the fuel on account and such. But I thought that all got worked out. I don't know.
It did. It got all worked out. Yeah, I put a chain on their propeller on their good airplane, and I wouldn't let them take it until they paid. So they sent the money via electronic.
Okay. Marketing and outreach, Mike?
Marketing and outreach.
You mentioned the Lead Athens thing that Davin went to.
Yeah, I'll let Devin speak on that.
Davin? Yeah.
Yes, can everybody hear me out? So we had David Bradley from the Chamber was in charge of the economic development section of Lead Athens. And so he brought that group out here, and they were here for about an hour. We had some good questions, gave them sort of an overview, and then gave them a quick tour of the airport. So lots of good interest there. Always appreciate David Bradley, who's a great champion for us, as Mike has mentioned in the past. But it's a good opportunity for us to show the community what the airport is doing and provide a little history as well. So good session there.
Okay. Any questions on any of those so far? Comments? Okay. So, Mike, next item.
So COVID
Yeah.
meeting. All right. So my plan is to meet in September on the 27th at our next meeting. We're going to meet in the large conference room. We're going to separate a little bit and wear our masks if need be. But that seems to be what some other departments are doing, and so that's what we're going to start doing in September.
Okay, when you said the large conference room, you meaning the event room?
Yeah, in the commercial terminal. Yeah.
Okay, and then you're going to have live streaming set up there?
I don't know if we'll have live streaming. I don't think we're set up for that. So, as it stands right now, we probably won't unless we can get it going by then.
All right. Okay. Well, we look forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So we look forward to meeting some of our colleagues in person for the first time.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Any questions or other comments for Mike on all those reports before we move on?
I was wondering where we at on the taxiway project. It seems like there's still nothing going on.
That one. Yeah. So the local. Let me start with the localizer. So the localizer, it's going to get flight checked. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. They finally got the information in the FAA database that needed to get in there for flight check to fly it. So that hopefully will. And I just talked to flight check about 2 hours ago. He's going to set it up as soon as the tech calls him. The tech's on vacation this week, and I think he said FAA said they're going to be out the Memorial Week, so it might be 3 weeks down. But anyway, he's going to set us up. As far as the taxiway project, so we had a meeting with Astra. I think I told you this last time. I'm not sure where it was, but we had that meeting with Astra, and they presented some change orders, mostly for them that consisted of the investigation on the rock, blast or not blast. The redesign was done. Um, we had been talking with Astra now about restarting, and they said, well, now we've got supply chain issues, as far as electrical cable, electrical fixtures, piping, underground piping, and all that. So they're actually waiting to get that stuff. In the meantime, though, they're asking about escalation costs and things like that. I had sent our contract to the county attorney to look at so that, he'd understand it. And I wouldn't be the one interpreting it because I'm not qualified. I wanted him to do it. So that way we can find out what's in the contract because it's a big contract. And he can tell me, what we can and can't do, or so if Astra's asking us for stuff, if it's not in the contract, then I'm not going to do it. So that's kind of where I am now, in between, waiting on some of the supplies to get in. So they do plan on getting going again. It's probably, hopefully, within the next month and a half, I think, as far as the supply chain issues. 220, that was supposed to start this month, but it's not going to start until October because of supply chain issues. The mostly under drain piping, and then again, the fixtures, because we're getting lighting and signage on that project as well. So that's what's delayed those. And then the roof of the runway obstruction free area, we kind of backed off on some of that because I got word yesterday from GDOT that they don't have the money that we were hoping we would get from them to do the full project that we wanted to do. And so now they say we've got so much money, I got to kind of back off a little bit, basically just do a tree removal project with some fence in it and scale it back some. So I talked to Andrew this morning, and then we'll get. I told him, that I'm going to have to do more internally, and not so much rely on RSNH on this project. So kind of that's where we are there. But anyway, it's still, last year, during football season, we actually only had, believe it or not, and it's hard believe it's been a year, but anyway, we actually only had Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 open. So Delta did have to back taxi back, for pretty much the whole season, I think. It went well. I mean, everything was safe. The tower, they knew exactly what to do. I sent all the information to Delta on our airport diagram, and I showed, how they taxi and where they go in Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. I never heard from them. They're very professional, and if they had any issues, they'd give me a call. So I sent it to all of the folks in operations with Delta, the charter folks. So they all saw it, they all used it, they were okay with it. I think their main concern is landing. They want to make sure they can get in. They don't care how they get to the commercial terminal, just as long as they can land and take off. And I think that was the big deal when we were working on the runway. But the taxiway, they can deal with it. It's inconvenient, but they can work it. So anyway, so that's where we are in the projects.
Now, last football season, there was taxiway in place at Alpha 3, right?
Right. We had Alpha 3 in place, but they didn't use it. And the reason when I drew out the drawings for them, I didn't include them getting off Alpha 3 because I knew at some point we'd be tearing it up. And so they never actually used it on the drawings that I used. They actually went to Bravo 3. So if they landed, they would go to Alpha 2, come back around, back taxi all of Bravo 3, and then come in and turn around at the commercial terminal. So even though it was available for some portion of the season, they never used it because I knew it'd be torn up eventually. So I didn't want them to get used to using Alpha 3 and then all of a sudden it's gone, so I just told them not to use it.
Anything else, Craig?
Well, I just noted that, like the radio chatter while Dragonfly was in town, the tower was extending a lot of bases. And I'm thinking that for game days now, not so much Delta, but the GA traffic, every landing closes the runway.
Yeah,
because Alpha 3 is not there for them to turn off on.
right. And I talked to the tower about that, and they said, they can make it safe. That's what Jessica told me. She said it's nothing they really want to, work, because it is a lot of work. They have to extend, downwinds and all that. But she said we can make it safe. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be ideal. I mean, all their alternatives is just shut down the airport. But as long as the tower can make it safe, then that's good. But I mean, supply chain issues is the big thing. I mean, nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. I wish that I wish there wasn't any rock. That delayed a lot. I mean, that was from November through the winter time. Of course, they were going to shut down November through February anyway and not do anything. But the rock really delayed us. That was a big thing.
And we can keep our fingers crossed that the winds are out of the east, and then there won't be any back taxing.
Exactly. I know that's what Jessica said too. Yeah, that would be ideal if that was the case.
Right. With Niner in use, at least for landings, is easy. A little more challenging for departures. But the other thing that they're doing, Craig, is with Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 open, is they're taxiing those aircraft off of 27 onto Alpha 2. And just this morning, I went for a quick flight. Roy had them just make a 180 at Alpha 2 and then come back once I departed. So they are using that as kind of a jug handle of sorts to stage aircraft. I'm sure they'll do more of that.
They will. I think they're practicing that. Yeah, for the games. Yeah.
So, Mike, did I read correctly in the minutes referral to the use of goats attack the kudzu?
Yeah, so that was a part of the ROFA project that we were investigating.
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial to do? They can only reach about, from ground 4 feet up. And so they won't get all of the kudzu. And I got a quote, and it was about $8,000 to do just that a small section. Well, it's a big section, but it's smaller than the rest of them. And so about $8,000, or about $1,100, $1,200 an acre. I can pretty much get a grinder in here for a little more than that, and grind everything down. So I'm thinking about it, but I don't know if it's something I'll do for this project. Yeah.
I'm just curious because, there was that company in town that was advertising, to homeowners and the like, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And they kind of downplayed the fact that it's not permanent, they'll mulch, but they don't actually destroy the roots and the main stems. So
that's right.
Keep having it done. So
yeah, you're
not
right.
Be cost effective,
Yeah, and Hartsfield, I was told that her competitor, Hartsfield, uses her competitor a lot. And I know other airports do it too. I've read up on it, and they do use them to maintain, basically.
What you got to do is get your own herd.
Yeah.
And then you can sell the goat milk and make goat cheese and have a second derivative income from it.
That's a good idea. I can see that revenue source.
Yeah.
Right. When we're building this fence, we could just build a double fence and keep them corralled.
Yeah.
And that way they're not a runway issue.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure Hartsfield's got mountains of kudzu like you do. It's mainly grass that they munch on.
Probably just grass. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is.
Okay. So, anything else before we leave all the updates from Mike? Okay. All right. Well, moving on to old business. I've got a brief update from the Lexington group. It's really only one sentence update. There was no meeting this month, but the main update is that the Mayor and Commission at their voting meeting in early August did vote to approve the funding for all of those 10 projects that we in the group I'm in actually had recommended. So like I told you last time, they they got the mayor and commission to approve the preliminary plans, but they hadn't approved the funding. Well, now they've approved the funding, so they're going ahead with acquiring right-of-way, utility work, further, construction plans, etc. And also, if you remember that City Manager Blaine Williams had asked that they also confer with any other departments that might be impacted. And Mike, you can comment on that because you said he did mention it the other day, the intersection improvement projects, particularly the one that contains the potential for a new entrance.
Yeah, so every month I have a meeting with Blaine, and so he just wanted to make sure I was aware of them, and their plans out there to create an intersection, onto the airport area. And I said, yeah, oh yeah, we've been talking about it for 2-3 years, maybe 3 at least, but it's been, just kind of saying, nonchalant, it's going to happen. We're thinking about it. But then too, that it's really getting serious. So yeah, I told him I was aware of it, and he was glad. He just wanted to make sure I was.
So, Mike or Diane, just recollecting back, the scope of this for now is just to get a potentially a way into the airport from Lexington Road, and not try to figure out how to get traffic from there all the way around to the north side. It's just more just access into the south side.
Yeah,
correct?
you're right. It's the first leg.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's something I have to get with Jim on, with Baker, to plan it, okay, we're going to go to the left, go around the airport to get to this side from Lexington, and also to the right, where we have that property just south of the runway that we can do a lot of things with. So there's some planning that has to be done for sure.
Yeah, but at least Derek Dosters, talks about those two
Yeah.
components of it. But I think you're right, Mike, like you mentioned recently, there's going to need to keep on it all the time. You're going to have to get back on and ask for updates in fall when they actually start they're actually drawing up the preliminary plans for those.
Yeah, I don't want them to feel like it's available land. It is in our airport layout plan, and it should be ours. We only have so much land to do things with. And if a road is an access road is broad around there, then it has to be for airport purposes, and that's what it's really needed.
Yeah, it's parcel A for the rest of you to be reminded. It's a nice parcel right on Lexington, and it's a nice big green square with another block on top. And a lot of people, let's just say, in positions of authority have been eyeing it with interest.
Yeah, if Jim could put a good concept together, then we'll let everybody know what's going on over there, and this is our plans, and then hopefully it'll be in their minds that this is what it is.
Yeah. So I guess our obligation is to keep it high on the radar.
Yeah.
As appropriate. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the update there. And as I said, I'm not really sure how much in the way of updates I'll hear, on that committee in the next couple of months, because I think they're going to be busy working on all of that. But Derek's pretty good at keeping us informed. So anything I hear, I'll pass on to you. But I think fall's going to be operative to get back to that issue of the intersection. If you've driven up Lexington, you've seen the way they've clear cut that huge tract on the other side of the road for that Trintas development. They clear cut the whole thing. No trees left at all. So that's where it's going to be, directly opposite that storage facility. Okay. New business right now, there is none this time, but I'm hoping by next time we will have some new business on the next series of meetings. So we're at standing committee issues and updates. I'm going to start with you. Finance, Keith, anything?
I'm sorry. No, I don't have anything, Diane.
Okay. Operating?
Nothing besides those few topics that Mike and I had addressed previously, on this call. I'll get with him over the next month, and hopefully we'll have more to talk about at the next meeting.
Okay. And then lastly, Grant and Mike on service development. I guess we're still where we were, huh?
Yeah, I don't have anything from my end. This is Grant.
Okay,
Yeah,
Grant.
still the pilot shortage from what I hear from everybody talking. So hopefully that'll ease up and then we can start talking more. But I would like to, I'll say this, I talked to Blaine about going to Dallas, and talking to American, with the chamber, with David and Grant if he wants to go, or Diane, and let's see who else. Oh, I think it was who else was it? Maybe economic development. I can't remember who was interested. But anyway, and just visiting them personally. They're not going to tell us anything we don't already know, but at least us face to face with them, at least they know, we're still serious and are wanting them to come.
Well, whatever we can do.
Okay.
It remains the only thing people ever ask anytime anybody hears, oh,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any connection to the airport?
Yeah.
When are we going to get it?
Yeah. Yep. That's all the time. It's what I hear all the time.
Yeah.
I hope they use it, even though they say it, I'm sure they would.
Well, can we turn to other business? Are we there? Anybody want to add anything before we do? Okay. The new item on that is a little update I want to give you about Athens-Tech, just as a precursor that now, if we can meet in person next time, we had invited Marvin Nunnally to visit with us. You might remember that, Mike, I think last time you reported on the Chambers of Commerce meeting that was held at the airport, David Bradley and we were there, you, Keith and I, etc., Davin. And there was another event in that sort of series for the Northeast Georgia 12 county region, looking at workforce issues. And Marvin Nunnally is the Economic Development Coordinator at Athens-Tech. And I met him at that meeting, and we spoke with Mike and actually invited him to come to an airport authority meeting and talk to us about programs at Athens-Tech and possible opportunities for partnering, etc. And well, of course, that all, is contingent upon him coming and meeting in person. I don't blame him for saying, well, he'd rather come and meet all of you in person and speak to us than just do it, as we are doing now with the distance. So he would have come last month. He would have been here this time, but that's why it's actually also quite earnest that we try and meet next month and have him then. That town hall meeting last Monday was about 85, 90 different people, and they tended to be community leaders, few commissioners. Mayor of Monroe was there, several ACC staff people, and then a whole group of manufacturers and CEOs from different companies in the 12 county region. So it was a big group in the auditorium at Athens-Tech. I sent you 2 documents for your information during the week. And I hope, if we meet with Marvin, maybe you can have a look at those before we meet so that you can frame some questions. One of them was the presentation by Rope Roberts. He actually was the guy from Georgia Power that spoke at the meeting we had at the airport. And he was looking at workforce issues and where the jobs are going to be added and what housing issues are. And then he spoke again with a little bit more emphasis on workforce issues. But Andrea Daniel, who's the president of Athens-Tech, actually introduced or gave an overview of all their programs, Athens-Tech, and then actually sort of unashamedly appealed for new partnerships. They said they really are seeking partnerships with other entities. And I was sitting there thinking, there's got to be an opportunity there for us in some shape or form. Anyway, if we can get Marvin to come and talk with us, he would actually, I think, reiterate and then expand on some of the things that he spoke about at that meeting. The forum focus was on their Manufacture Ready program, where they train people, with skills and abilities so that those individuals can actually take the job that they've applied for, but they're not up to it yet until they go through this program. But then they are ready to actually take on the job. And some of that training is apparently with grant money, and so it's tuition free. So, he can tell us more about that program. It sounds very interesting. And then they also have a quick start program that they talked about. And of course, they gave out all these handouts, which I can't let you have, but if we meet next month, I'll give them to you. Also on training. And if you've driven past Athens-Tech on that road, there's a big facility across the street from the main campus, which is their Quick Start training facility. Mike, you said you know about that program where they take whole groups of people that are going to be working in a new factory or something and train them in that facility so they're ready.
Yeah, in Floyd County, they had the local tech school there was doing that. Floyd County had Pirelli and Suzuki and a couple of other major brands that came, and so they have this quick start. So they bring in the machines that the individuals would be working on, and they train them quickly on these. So when they start up, they're fast tracked, and so they do a real good job. Quick start program.
Yeah. And then the president, Andrea Daniel, mentioned something else, which I really hope that Marvin will talk to us about, and that is they are starting a new program of micro-credentialing, of mini training units, like 1 credit hour, 8 hours, and they gave the example, like if you had some employee of yours who you wanted to hire, and one of the things, that person needed to do was operate a forklift, but they don't know how. They would come on site to you and train that person 8 hours on site, on the spot, to operate a forklift. And then the person would get a badge, like a mini certification for that. So that's a brand new program. And I thought, if nothing else, that's certainly something that just to me sounds like there's potential there, for us to hear what they've got to say, and then to see if there's any possibility or opportunity, like Mike, if you've got people already on staff at the airport, but there is other training you think they might be able to benefit from. Or if there are people who don't even know about jobs at the airport, but there could be a connection made, or there could be Athens-Tech students already that they could bring to the airport and apprise them of what some of the opportunities might be and the training. And then some of you, members of the authority, you may have employees yourselves who you could say, well, there's something, that I could think of in that range of programs or that micro credentialing that could benefit, if we're looking at job creation and, the jobs focus in earnest here. So that's what Marvin is very keen to come and talk with us. And I think, if you say, well, why all of this? Well, actually, it's in the strategic plan. It's goal 4. If you look at goal 4, and actually in the full version of the strategic plan, it's initiative 426. In other words, focusing on partnerships with local institutions or other entities, NGOs, etc., for mutual benefit. So I don't know if there's any potential there for a partnership, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. So if we can let you know. I mean, hopefully now Mike and I can confer, and if it's firm that we can meet in person, then I can go ahead and confirm with Marvin to come to our next meeting. And then perhaps if you have a chance to look through the materials on their programs in particular, or those other 2 programs, you might have some questions that you can bring, to ask Marvin or ask him to elaborate. I also sent you the Rope Roberts PowerPoint, which is just really a sort of FYI overview of all the labor market issues that he overviewed in the region. So, Keith, you were suggesting, and I agree with you, I think if we can meet in person and if Marvin can come and give us a presentation, I think we will need to give him probably a good 20 minutes or half an hour to do a thorough job. And then we probably need to give an equal amount of time for questions and discussion, and we haven't actually been using all 2 hours of our meeting slot anyway. So, I would need, I guess, to confer with you and have your agreement on that if we know that we can have him come. But right now, I put it under other business because it's not an initiative yet, but I think it's something that possibly could become an initiative, for the airport's benefit and for the benefit of actually connecting potential workers with employment through training.
Yeah, I think Mike has indicated that basic need for the airport is the ongoing one is just aircraft mechanic help training and all that. So which would be definitely something. But it seems like this may be an opportunity for us on the authority in the next meeting if Marvin can come to have sort of almost a brainstorming working meeting to figure out where some needs could be met with help from Athens Tech.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't even know the breadth of all their programs. If you look at them, you know, they offer things, all kinds of things. It's a very broad offering of programs. Like Mike, you said, you know, the forklift operator example even could be something you could think about, you know. So anyway, he's a good promoter of his institution, but he's also a very, you know, good speaker and very earnest in wanting to promote training opportunities and employment opportunities for people. So I think, you know, it may be a way for us to look at the disconnect between, you know, what we have, what there is to offer, and people that are out there who could be employed and trained, who may not actually even know of the opportunities. So, and incidentally, two birds with one stone, I had actually given Marvin copies of our airport fact sheet and the diagram that we have in our annual report of the different ways in which the airport can be a destination. And he asked me, well, won't I send them out to all 90 attendees? So I did. So both of those pieces of information about the airport went out to everybody, all 90 in the group that attended. And hopefully they'll find that of interest, and maybe Mike will get some queries and calls as a result. So what do you think? I hope there's something of interest here, you know, or some potential, but, you know, if we don't try, it's not going to happen. I just think it's a good opportunity. I can't believe there isn't something in it, you know, so we'll see. So between now and our next, you know, reminder emails and everything, I know that Mike and I will be talking with you about confirming Marvin coming or not. He already has the date and he said he's available, but we'll need to confirm. Okay. Anything else? Comments? Questions about it? I think the main thing is if you can think about your, particularly if you have employees of your own, you know, if you can think about your own situation and that of the airport, you know, what might we find out about programs and opportunities that they offer that could benefit, you know. So, okay. All right. Well, actually, that's the last of the items as far as I know. And our next meeting is actually on the 27th of September. So, Mike, you're saying event room?
I'm very optimistic. Yes. Let's say event room will spread out.
Yeah.
Wear mask if need be. We'll look into the, you know, the live stream.
Yeah.
I know that's something that the county wanted to do, you know, if we went back to live, but it's, you know, hopefully we could just meet. And I know other departments are doing it without going live. So, you know, I mean, when you think about it, Keith hasn't ever met Grant. You know, Grant's been on this thing for what, 2 years? I don't know, but it's I don't know.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. You've just been a gentleman on the screen.
Yeah.
And you, Jeff.
Yeah, nobody's met Jeff except for a few of us, you know, but Jeff's
Yeah, but I've only been for a couple months though. So.
yeah.
I know, but it's becoming actually a bit awkward with Marvin because he's so keen to come and he's going all over the 12 county region meeting with people in person, you know, and I'm saying, well, you know, we still can't meet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll say let's meet, and if I get my hand slapped, I get my hand slapped. But I'm tired of it. I'm ready to meet.
we'll give you backup, Mike.
Okay.
When I was at this meeting with 90 other people, I happened to sit next to 2 people from Public Works. And we were talking about all this stuff. And they said they're meeting in person. What's the problem? They also said that they're allowed to meet sort of hybrid, that if somebody only can call in but not be there in person, that's okay as well. And I thought, well, why are we being held to this?
Yeah. See, I've heard the opposite on that. Either it's one way or the other, but you can't have it both ways. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if there's a clear answer right now, but
yeah. Okay. Well, having said all of that, if you'd like to adjourn, can I have a motion? to adjourn this meeting? Keith? Okay. Second.
I'll second it.
All right, Jeff. So all in favor of calling it quits for the day?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all very much. We appreciate seeing you again. And Mike and I'll be in touch about meeting in person next month with Marvin as our guest. Okay.
All right.
If you can't open either of those documents I sent, let me know, because I'm also aware of the fact, you know, some of these systems don't allow you to open big documents, but that's why I sent them to you in tandem. Hopefully you got them. All right.
See you,
Thank you
folks.
very much,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.